What happens when a rising political star refuses to back down from one of daytime television's most outspoken hosts? You are about to witness one of the most explosive confrontations ever aired live on television. A clash so intense, it ended with a guest being escorted off the set. Before we dive into this jaw-dropping moment, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment with your thoughts on what you are about to see. The studio lights blazed as Jasmine Crockett, the fiery Congresswoman from Texas, settled into her seat at the View's iconic table. Known for her sharp wit and firm stance on progressive issues, Crockett had been turning heads in Washington with bold speeches and a fearless approach to challenging the establishment. She was here today to discuss her latest legislative push. But what began as a routine interview quickly spiraled into something no one saw coming. Joy Behar, the veteran co-host, known for her no-nonsense attitude and sharp comebacks, had her notes ready. With decades of political discussions under her belt, she was not about to let any guest, regardless of their rising star status, take over her show. The tension was thick, even before the cameras started rolling. "Welcome back to The View," Joy began with her signature authoritative tone. "We are here with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who has been making quite a name for herself in Washington. Jasmine, let us talk about your recent comments regarding the housing crisis. You have been very vocal about pushing for more aggressive federal intervention." Crockett leaned in, confident and composed. "Joy, thank you for having me. Yes, I have been pushing for real solutions, because what we are seeing across this country is unconscionable. Families are living in their cars while luxury developments sit empty. When the market fails, the federal government has a responsibility to act. Our people," but some would argue, Joy interrupted, her tone already sharpening, "that massive government spending is not the answer. We have seen housing programs fail before. What makes you think throwing more money at the problem will solve it this time?" The question hung in the air, like a loaded weapon. Crockett's eyes narrowed, reading the setup. "Joy, with all due respect, that is exactly the type of thinking that got us into this mess. We are not talking about throwing money at anything. We are talking about strategic investment in communities that have been ignored for decades." "Strategic investment," Joy repeated, her voice laced with skepticism. "That sounds like political speak for spending taxpayer dollars on programs that might not work. I have been covering politics longer than you have been alive. I have heard these promises before." The jab at Crockett's age landed like a slap. Her jaw tightened. The energy shifted. "Joy, my age does not disqualify my ideas," Crockett replied, voice steady but firm. "And frankly, your experience should tell you that dismissing solutions based on who proposes them, rather than on their merit, is exactly what is wrong with our discourse." Joy's eyebrows arched in surprise. She was not used to being challenged so directly, especially by newer political figures. "I am not dismissing anything based on age. I am questioning the practicality of your proposals," Joy snapped. "There is a difference between idealism and reality. There is also a difference between skepticism and cynicism," Crockett fired back, her voice growing sharper. "You are sitting here telling me that because other programs have failed, we should stop trying to help people. That is not skepticism, that is defeatism." The studio was dead silent. Everyone sensed they were witnessing something unprecedented. Joy's face was beginning to flush. She had dealt with difficult guests before, but Crockett's refusal to defer was striking a nerve. "Listen here," Joy raised her voice. "I have been fighting for progressive causes since before you were born. Do not lecture me about helping people. I have seen politicians like you come and go, big promises, little action." Crockett's eyes flashed. "Politicians like me? What exactly do you mean by that, Joy? Because I get the sense you are not just referring to experience." The implication was clear. Joy hesitated but stood her ground. "I am talking about young politicians who think they know everything and refuse to listen to those who have been in the trenches longer." "The trenches?" Crockett laughed without humor. "Joy, you have been behind this desk commenting on politics. I have been on the front lines fighting for my constituents and receiving death threats for standing up to power. Do not talk to me about trenches." The discomfort around the table was rising. This was no longer a typical heated discussion. It had become personal. "You think getting a few headlines means you understand how this game works?" Joy shot back. "I have been exposing corruption and holding politicians accountable since you were in diapers. Show some respect. Respect is earned, not demanded," Crockett said coldly. "And right now, you are not earning it by trying to shut down a conversation about helping people because you do not like the messenger." Joy clenched her cue cards, her knuckles white. Crockett leaned forward, her entire posture unyielding. The confrontation was boiling over and the cameras were still rolling. "You know what?" Joy said quietly, her voice trembling. "I think our viewers deserve better than listening to someone who clearly does not know how to have a respectful conversation." "Oh, I understand respect just fine," Crockett answered, her tone mirroring Joy's. "What I do not understand is why you think your age entitles you to talk down to me like I am a child who wandered into the wrong room." The gloves were off. What began as a policy discussion had become a full-blown battle of wills, with neither woman backing down. The audience sat stunned. Joy was flushed, her voice unsteady. She was not used to being challenged this publicly. She took a breath, trying to regain her composure. "Listen, Congresswoman," she said, emphasizing the title with sarcasm. "This is my show. I will not be spoken to like this by someone who has been in Washington for 5 minutes." Crockett's eyes widened. "Your show? Last I checked, it is called The View, not the Joy Behar Show. And those 5 minutes you mentioned, that is 5 minutes longer than you have ever spent fighting for real change. Instead of just talking about it." The other hosts squirmed in their seats. Whoopi Goldberg, silent until now, cleared her throat. "Ladies, maybe we should." Joy cut her off, pointing at Crockett. "No, I want to hear what the Congresswoman has to say about my record. Please, enlighten us." Crockett did not miss a beat. "Your record? You have spent decades sitting behind this desk making jokes about politicians while people lose their homes, their health care, their lives. You made a career out of outrage, without ever doing anything to fix what you are outraged about." The studio gasped. This was no longer about policy. This was war. Joy's voice trembled, whether from rage or realization was hard to tell. "How dare you? I have used this platform to highlight injustices, to give a voice to the voiceless, to hold the powerful accountable. I have been fighting for progressive causes longer than you have been alive." "Fighting?" Crockett scoffed bitterly. "You call sitting in a climate-controlled studio, collecting a paycheck, and cracking jokes about politicians fighting? I get death threats for challenging oil companies. I am attacked for defending immigrant rights. That is fighting, Joy. What you do, that is performance." The word landed like a punch. Joy had built her brand on being seen as an authentic liberal voice. Having that questioned especially live hit hard. Her hands were visibly shaking. "You think you are the only one who has sacrificed for your beliefs." Joy's voice cracked. "You think you are the only one who has been attacked for speaking out. I have been dealing with this for 30 years, taking heat from conservatives, my own network, people who thought I was too loud, too bold. And what did you do with those 30 years? Crockett pressed, eyes locked on Joy. "What legislation did you pass? What communities did you save? What change did you create besides becoming famous?" Joy opened her mouth. Nothing came out. She was a commentator, not a lawmaker. She had influence, but not power. Crockett had both. "That is what I thought," Crockett said coldly. "You've spent decades criticizing those who do the work, while staying protected by your celebrity and your network's paycheck." Joy finally found her voice, and it came back with venom. "You arrogant, self-righteous little brat. You think one election means you understand the world. You think a few speeches make you better than everyone else." That insult lit a fire. "Little brat." Crockett's politician masks dropped completely. "Is that how we are doing this now, Joy? Because I can go there with you all day." "Bring it on," Joy snapped, all pretense of professionalism gone. "Let's see what you have besides empty rhetoric and manufactured outrage." Crockett leaned back, calm and dangerous. "You want to know what I have? I have the respect of my district, the fear of my enemies, and the satisfaction of knowing I am making a real difference. What you have? A declining talk show and a reputation for being impossible to work with." The shot at ratings hit deep. Joy's face turned pale, then red again. Everyone at The View knew their audience numbers were slipping with younger viewers. It was a sore point. "At least I earned my position through talent and hard work," Joy spat. "Not by playing identity politics and writing social media outrage." The silence was deafening. Crockett's face went still. Her voice, barely above a whisper, was chilling. "Identity politics. Is that what you think this is? Is that what you think I am?" Joy saw the trap too late, but pride kept her from retreating. "If the shoe fits," she muttered, though her voice was hollow. Crockett stood, slowly, her chair scraping the floor. "You know what, Joy? You just told the world exactly who you are." When challenged, you revert to the same coded language your enemies use. "You did not have to say race. We both know what you meant." Joy tried to object. "I never said anything about race. You did not have to." Crockett cut her off. "Identity politics. Playing the race card, manufactured outrage. We know what those words mean. And what they mean is this. You cannot stand that a young black woman has the audacity to challenge you." Joy looked around for backup, but her co-hosts were silent, eyes down, hands folded. "That is not what I meant," Joy whispered. "You meant exactly what you said," Crockett replied, her voice rising. "You believe I do not deserve to be here. That my success must be because of something other than intelligence, education, hard work, and service. You have been condescending to me from the second I sat down, treating me like a child who does not belong." Joy sat frozen. "You do not understand what it is like," Crockett continued, "to fight for everything you have, to be doubted every step of the way, to prove yourself 10 times over for a seat at the table." The words echoed through the studio like thunder. Joy gripped the edge of the table, hands trembling. The other hosts looked from Joy to Crockett, unsure who would speak next or if anyone should. You do not get to lecture me about struggle, Joy finally said, voice thick with emotion. You do not know what I have been through, what I sacrificed to get here. Your biggest sacrifice, Joy, was probably choosing which expensive restaurant to eat at after your show. Crockett snapped. You want to talk about struggle? I grew up in public housing, worked 3 jobs to put myself through law school, defended people who could not afford justice. You sat in makeup chairs making snarky comments about politicians. You think I haven't struggled because I have money. Joy's voice cracked again. You think success means I haven't suffered? You got rewarded for being controversial, Crockett shot back. I get death threats. You became a star. I get called angry, divisive, unqualified. That is the difference. Joy stood, her chair knocking back. I am done. I am done with you coming on my show and disrespecting me, my work, my life. You want to play victim? Fine, but do it elsewhere. Your show, Crockett repeated, laughing bitterly. You keep saying that like you own this place. This is a public platform. I have just as much right to be here as you do. Not on my watch, Joy seethed. I have been doing this for 30 years, and I will not be lectured by a freshman congresswoman who thinks she knows everything. Freshman Congresswoman Crockett's voice was ice. I wear that title with pride. It means I am creating real change instead of sitting behind a desk collecting checks for hot takes. Joy turned to the camera, breathing hard. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry you had to see this. This is not what The View is about. Crockett was not finished. Do not apologize for me, Joy. Apologize for your behavior. Apologize for trying to silence a black woman who dared to challenge. You apologize for exposing your true self on live television. Joy turned, face twisted with rage. How dare you make this about race? How dare you play that card? I am not playing anything, Crockett responded. I am stating what is obvious. To everyone, you were dismissive and condescending from the start. And when I stood up for myself, you questioned whether I even belonged here. That is not politics. That is prejudice. Joy opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I think we should take a break, Whoopi finally said, her voice slicing through the silence. No, Joy snapped. We are not taking a break. We are ending this. Security, please escort Congresswoman Crockett from the building. Gasps echoed across the studio. Crockett's eyes widened, then narrowed. You are having me removed. For what? For disagreeing with you. For being disruptive and disrespectful, Joy replied, her voice weak. This is a professional environment. My behavior. Crockett laughed bitterly. You attacked me personally, questioned my qualifications, used coded language to discredit me, and I am the problem. 2 security guards stepped into view. Hesitant, ma'am. One said quietly, we need you to come with us. Crockett looked at the guard, then back at Joy with disgust and disappointment. You know what? I will leave. But not because you are kicking me out. I will leave because I refuse to waste another second of my life trying to have an intelligent conversation with someone who is clearly incapable of it. She began gathering her things, then turned to the camera. To everyone watching, remember what you saw today. You saw what happens when someone challenges the establishment. You saw someone refuse to be silenced. You saw someone speak truth to power. She looked back one last time. Joy, I hope one day you realize being an ally means listening, learning, and admitting when you are wrong. Until then, you are just another part of the problem. And with that, Jasmine Crockett walked off the set of The View, leaving behind a stunned audience and a host who had just revealed more than she ever intended. The cameras kept rolling, as Joy stood breathless, realizing that in trying to control the conversation, she had lost everything. The incident would be talked about for years. A perfect storm of entitlement versus authenticity, privilege versus truth. And the moment someone finally had the courage to say what everyone else was thinking. So, what do you think? Was Jasmine Crockett right to stand her ground, or did she go too far? Let us know in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe for more explosive political moments you will not see anywhere else.